It's a way for Canadians to connect without all the noise, as well as that filter of knowing that you are just really interacting with Canadians.
Live from Studio C, it's Chilliwack Creative Commission's Creative Third Thursdays. The Chilliwack Creative Commission is located in the ancestral unceded territory of the Stalo Coast Salish peoples. I am Geoff Edwards. I'm a volunteer member of the Chilliwack Creative Commission. Check me out on YouTube, and you can check me out at my website if you are a casting director. So thank you to the studio audience for being here. It's a big pleasure to have you here. Tickets are free. You can get them at creativethirdthursdays.com while they last. We have refreshments. We come into the studio. We make a YouTube video. Join us at Creative Third Thursdays. We like to say thank you to Tim McAlpine. He's the guy behind, the brains behind Studio C here at Cowork Chilliwack. There he is, waving on the monitor. Let's meet this month's featured creative. You ready?
With his career spanning roles as founder and lead architect for applications used by grassroots nonprofits and global enterprises, his systems at Zynum.com are currently managing nearly 1 billion points of data in real time. He and his team have created a backbone that is the silent partner behind a range of applications. This has all led to a timely project. He's now applying that enterprise-grade expertise to North Social, a Canadian social media startup designed to give creators a reliable, intentional space to build their communities without the pitfalls of legacy social media platforms. Here to talk about his interesting creative journey, the tech that could empower your stories, and an approach to social media that's different. Please welcome our featured creative, Colin Schmidt.
Thanks so much.
Colin, welcome. Thanks so much for doing this. We really appreciate you being available to our creative community, because we're building a creative community here, and every time we have a featured creative, I really appreciate it, and then because I know you're really busy yourself, so I wanted to thank you first of all for doing that.
Thank you, Geoff, and thank you to the Creative Commission, Tim, Cowork here. The job you guys do on these episodes is amazing, so really excited to be here today.
I want to sort of go back to the very beginnings of Colin Schmidt, our software architect, I guess I could call you, right?
Yep.
You first created a piece of software where you saw a need, but you started at a very young age. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up on a horse ranch here in Chilliwack with some of the earliest computers. So a Coco 2, for those of you who know what that is. And the only thing you could do with a Coco 2 is type code into it or load code off of a cassette tape. So being exposed to code at just a young age and around horses, when I saw a need to create some scoring software for equestrian vaulting, I was only in grade 9 at the time. I'd started teaching myself how to program in grade 8, and so I created sort of my first commercial software in grade 9 and 10 for that sport. So that was kind of the foundation of it. That software, the umpteenth version of it, is still in use across North America today.
That's fantastic. So what did you learn? It must have been like a major learning experience. What did you learn from the point of designing that that you can use today?
Well, the key thing that I learned early on by building an actual application is that a lot of what you learn in school is gaming, is how you often start out at that age. We run our game jam here in Chilliwack in partnership with Imagine High, and that is one of the best ways to learn how to code. But it's different when you get exposed at a young age to, let's build something utilitarian that has a real day-to-day use. So when you have to wrap your head around that, still in high school, it sort of just lays down some patterns that you may not get if you only stuck to the gaming. So the gaming is the great way to start, but I really encourage young coders to really wrap their heads around some functional requirements.
Something that's actually, well, you saw a purpose. How did that happen? you were aware of a difficulty people were having. And
Yeah, so I'd be at the competitions, and you'd have the parent volunteers and the coaches on those old tape calculators, right, with the paper tape there, so they could double check their work and add up all the numbers. And the scoring for this sport's quite complex, actually. So it was taking them longer to do the scoring than it took to run the competition. So that was where the need came from. And one of the coaches who knew I was learning to code said, "Colin, you need to just do this." And I took her word for it, and I did it.
so, grade 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You're still involved with the equestrian athletics, I understand.
Yes, so just had just a tremendous opportunity to sort of grow up in that sport. I started when I was 11, and so I competed internationally for Canada from 95 through 2010, and competed and coached right up to the World Championships level, the World Equestrian Games and stuff like that. And at this point, I'm an international judge. I just finished up my qualifications to start on my 3rd level there.
And we were going to meet for coffee a couple of weeks back, and I can't. I've got to go to one of these events.
Yep.
So you're still very active in that organization. Yeah. What were some of the challenges that you've had to overcome along the way as you developed Zynim, your organization now? What are some of the major challenges that you've overcome?
The big one really, going back to the equestrian roots, Horse Council of British Columbia became my first large customer back in 1998. They had a $20,000 Microsoft Access database blow up in their face. They then went out to do it right. So they got quotes from Microsoft and Oracle back then, and both of those quotes came in at over $1 million for them to have the system they really wanted. They couldn't find anything in between. So I was going to the University of the Fraser Valley, UFE at the time, and they had my athlete bio, of course, that said I was studying CIS, so they brought in a friendly. So I took a look at what I was learning in school and what was available, and in that time frame, there was a big gap. So I said, okay, well, let me set you up with something temporary, and temporary means like 4 years, to just sort of get by. In the meantime, I'm going to design and build something. So I spent 4 years of just pure research into database management systems and writing them from scratch. I came to some very different conclusions than what the industry had done so far and where they were going. And I released one of the first in RAM or in memory relational databases. So that was the foundation of what Horse Council BC went live with in 2002. And at this point, we have global enterprise systems and startups and everything in between, and nonprofits still running on that platform, moxie.build.
So moxie.build, just so for a layperson like me, what is Moxie Build?
Thankfully, you've got the right picture up here. So you've got the database. So the database is just how you don't lose information. So being able to have a record, whether it's your person record or North Social we're talking about here today a bit later, have your post, that just goes in the database, and it's just responsible for storing that data, but to be able to do so very efficiently. So if you think about how long it takes to load something off of the disk of your computer, that is much slower than when it's already loaded, sort of put it up on the screen. So this database system is in memory, and it always has all of the data in memory. So it operates much faster, which allows us to overcome some different problems more efficiently.
Is that an innovative approach to data management?
It was novel at the time, yeah. But some of the larger players, about 6-7 years ago, really kind of went all in this direction as a precursor to accelerating workloads ahead of our AI era. There are some noticeable enterprise solutions that now have this same kind of an architecture, but we've been doing it for a lot longer.
So is this why, I mean, obviously I'm asking a question I think I know the answer to, that has been very helpful for you as you embarked on building northsocial.ca, has it?
Yes and no. So we had everything we have built over the last 25 years, and that includes even our own programming language, our own web server, et cetera. All of that is our own technology. And so we've used this very successfully. A very large global enterprise solutions. As you'd said in the intro, the systems we're managing today, we're managing over 1 billion data points, all in memory. It's not a simple thing to make it all fit in memory is one of the tricky things. But when we look at North Social, it won't all fit in memory. If there isn't enough memory that's affordable for the amount of revenue you can make off this type of a business. So that actually has challenged us to be architecting this differently. So it makes use of the in-memory database for the things that make sense, but a lot of the data does have to be on the disk, and that really does slow things down the way it slows things down for everybody else. But to be able to design a social network from literally the operating system level up, there's lots of challenges there that some of them have been solved in different ways over time, but a lot of that's proprietary knowledge within the larger players. Some of it is open source with varying degrees of success. But if you're looking to build something you own and have your own unique IP, then there's things to rediscover and there's things to research as brand new.
So I believe she's in the audience. One of your co-founders came up with the idea of northsocial.ca.
Yep.
And you heard the idea and immediately purchased that domain. Why? Why was it so timely for you to do that?
Yeah, well, what I love about Brenda, who's here, is she was sick lying in bed, and she had this thought that why doesn't Canada have its own social media platform? And I had the same thought before, and in fact, probably most people in this room over the last 5 years have had the same thought. What I love about Brenda is she did something about it, because it's one thing to have an idea, it's another thing to actually just have the gumption to go, you know what, we're going to do this. So she decided she was going to do it. She called up Kelvin Morrow, who's here in Chilliwack as well, and they had done some business together in the gaming industry. So she called up and Kelvin said, I want to do this. And Kelvin said, okay, we can do that, but we're going to need Colin. So the next call was to me, and Kelvin told me what him and Brenda had been talking about. And I said, okay, if you guys are actually going to do this, I'm already all in. And yeah, to your point, I went and purchased the domain name that night.
So why all in right away? Because you must have looked at that as a seemingly insurmountable task to build a social network. I guess you had built the background and the intelligence to not see that as an insurmountable goal, I guess.
Correct. I'd say the architecture stuff, I would say, would be down, for me anyways, as a geek, it's downright exciting. So it's a bigger problem. It's the next big problem to solve. The other thing is, honestly, identifying that the reason we're doing this is that we would have sovereign data on sovereign technology. Mm-hmm. I saw that Xinem was uniquely positioned to be able to deliver that purely sovereign solution. So that's to some degree, to some degree, you almost feel obligated. It's like, we can do this and we should do it. And then finally, it had certainly been rattling around in all of our brains for some time that this is something that should be done. And once you feel you've got some momentum and the geopolitical climate is right, where we believe the users would take the time to invest in signing up, creating another profile, checking another site, those sorts of things, you have to have the right environment for that to get the spark to grow.
And what do you think brought about that sort of mindset? Anybody in particular come to mind?
I'll just say it's the geopolitical climate.
The geopolitical climate. Nicely put. Nicely put. So I'm encouraging our viewers in the audience to visit North Social right now, the people at home viewing and the people in the studio, to go to northsocial.ca. And oh, sorry. Excuse me, Colin. Some of them didn't bring out their phones yet. What will people find when they visit North Social? Is it an easy sign-up process?
We sure hope so. The first thing to know is there's no usernames and passwords because we know you'll forget them anyways. The next thing is that even if you did remember what it was, the reason you remember your password is because you used the same password on 5 other sites, or 50. So that's there's a fair amount of private data that is going to be there that needs to be protected. So we made an early decision to make sure that we're going to help protect the users against those sorts of breaches. So if you've lost access to your email and hackers have hacked your email, then they could reset your password anyways, right? But meanwhile, as long as we can email you that code for you to log in, that's going to just create your account. From there, it's up to you to decide how much information you tell us. Really, the only thing you have to do is decide what you want the public name to be, and nothing else is required other than checking the box of yes, you agree to our terms of service. So super lightweight to get in. And I encourage you to do that even if you just want to be a lurker. As you probably know, 95% of users on social media just look. So that's fine. We're cool with that. So sign up, create an account, put as little or as much information in there as you care to, and join the party.
You've noted that the dream isn't necessarily to replace giants like Facebook and all the everybody knows the legacy social media platforms. What niche is North Social going to fill, do you think, for people?
It's a way for Canadians to connect without all the noise, as well as that filter of knowing that you are just really interacting with Canadians. So you do have to be a resident of Canada, living in Canada, to be compliant with our terms of service. We do monitor and police that, of course, and it's always a game over time of cat and mouse, of course, in terms of whack-a-mole and those sorts of things to keep the bots out and everything else, right? But that's an evolving thing that I don't want to comment on too much, but it is...
Why?
The reason the strategy changes. So because of the whack-a-mole aspect, when this one pops up, it takes certain strategies to deal with that. But at the same time, we don't want to hinder real users. If you want to go travel the world and post your vacation photos, we want to allow you to do that, right? So if you're just out of the country working for a few months, we want you to be able to do that. So there's a delicate balance as you're dealing with the moderation on this stuff that takes time to sort out and does have to evolve over time.
So you've recently scaled past 6,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
They're accessing it through a web interface, right?
Yeah.
You're rapidly tracking towards 10,000 user base. What has the early user data or community feedback told you about who is migrating to northsocial.ca right now?
The number one thing that is clear, and this was our intent, is that lack of noise. We can very clearly see our users, what they post and what they respond to is really kind of just the more wholehearted stuff. One thing that we learned that was interesting along the way is we did want to make sure that we were supporting Canadian news perspectives. We know that Facebook, of course, with them pulling, or Meta as a whole, pulling Canadian news sources out of their networks, had a real negative effect on people's ability to get good, clean data and for good, clean news. So we wanted to make sure that that was there. But what we found was that yes, people want the news, but they don't necessarily want their main feed to be filled with it. So this is a good example of where we recognized very quickly from our users of what they're looking for there. And we decided that, yes, news is so important and so key to what we're doing. We're going to give it its own area of the platform. So there's actually a news icon on the UX top right, right beside the search, that allows you to browse news, whether it's locally, national, or global. But that's separate from the main feed so that you're able to sort of keep that main feed kind of just more low key and I wouldn't necessarily say feel good, right? Because it's not all feel good stuff there. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be a little bit more authentic, I'll say.
Mm-hmm. I notice when you go to post, it says, "Is this news?"
Correct. Right? Yes, and you have to answer that question to post it. So as you're posting something, if you indicate it's national news, it just automatically goes into that feed.
So we were hoping, I was hoping, you were probably more realistic about it, but I was hoping that there would be an app available for it yet, but you are working on that. How's that going?
Absolutely. There's definitely lots of hoops and stuff to jump through to do a good job of the app launch. One of the things that's really important is that this is an opportunity for us to grow the user base fairly quickly. Although we ourselves have designed a platform that's kind of algorithm free, which is important to us, that's not true in the app stores. So as we enter the app stores, we need to make sure that we're able to ride that algorithm as best we can. So there's quite a few things to prepare for that. We've been working through that. We actually just launched a big update, a quality update to the platform today as a preparation for that, to make sure that we get the type of engagement and the positive feedback from the users that we need in order to have that algorithm kick in and help spread the word.
And how close are you?
Very close. The update we launched today is one small feature shy of having all the boxes checked for the app stores. So we are talking about very imminent. I'd like to say within a week, but these things, you never know what you don't know sometimes. Sometimes you hit submit and it's sometimes it is just one person's opinion that you'll get blocked on in terms of their policies and stuff, and you have to deal with that, where another app may have had the exact same scenario and would have been approved. So some of the inconsistencies you deal with there can sometimes hold you up.
Is the fact that it's sovereign to Canada and the data's all in Canada an issue with Google?
No. That's not the blocker, no.
Yeah, cool. So it's been a major challenge. You seem very calm. I can imagine if it was me, it was like submitting it again. Have there been moments like that, Colin?
For the team, keep in mind we have an awesome team, and yes, the actual submission process on those and the oh my goodness moments you're just describing, I'm so calm because they're the ones doing that, not me.
Okay, good. So the other interesting decision you made was it's more adult oriented. You're not trying to feed stuff to very young social media users. You talk about that philosophy a little bit.
We're 18 plus, and we made that decision very early on, like before we were even live. The reason for it is that social media has a great deal of good it can do for a community. And our goal is to just build real community online for the purpose of connecting people in real life. And when you think about that goal, a lot of the negativity that surrounds social media, we're talking about doom scrolling, we're talking about people just getting sucked into rabbit holes and stuff. That stuff, nobody has figured out the right safeguards for that yet. And the reason we know they haven't is you take a look at the global political, I'll say, trend towards actually just banning children from social media outright. That trend is there because the existing companies, I would say, haven't done a good enough job policing it and or figured it out. So as a young startup with less resources than those in incumbent companies, you have to think to yourself, if they're having trouble doing a good job of this, how much trouble will we have? So two things, you've got the political landscape kind of shifting towards a ban anyways. So why bother accommodating something you may not be allowed to do anyways? But on the other hand, you want to pick your battles. And we believe that especially myself growing up in a sport background, I'd much rather have those kids involved in as many sports as they can and those sorts of activities versus doom scrolling.
Well, you mentioned, doom scrolling again, because I know that's part of your platform as well. You actually get to the end of your feed.
Yep. 200 posts and you hit a dead end and there's no refresh, there's no load more. It's just simply
it's refreshing. It is, right? Because done. Yep. And you want to come back to a platform like that, I think, because I can't count how many times I've used a naughty word when I've turned Facebook off my phone because it becomes so irritating that you find yourself wasting time, and then you look, oh, Bing, there's a new thing to tell me. Oh, somebody said something about what I've said, or what, it's toxic in a way. I think anyway. What are some of the uses people are? What are some of the people posting? What are the interesting things or trends you've noticed with users of northsocial.ca?
The three largest ones. One obviously is news, so there is just the news section we talked about, so I won't elaborate on that further.
Are local news
yes, so there will be local news.
Are you getting news organizations locally to start using that?
No, not yet. It's really more grassroots, actually. So it really is about creating awareness about community activities. So obviously you were posting about this event there, but if you take a look on North Social, you'll see other people posting other community events. So quite a bit of charity stuff, which is nice to see, and awareness there. So that awareness about what's going on at a community level and your ability to engage is great. And to be able to learn from things across the country. So when we see that there's success with one community event, and when you go to the local news, you're able to see the local news from across Canada. The idea is that you're seeing what's happening at a local level, not that you're zooming into just Chilliwack, for example.
No,
okay? Because we want to sort of allow that cross-pollination of ideas. Then the other thing is people just sharing, honestly, the cat pictures. Because doom scrolling sucks, but maybe it would be less bad if you just had more cat pictures.
Colin comes at this very honestly. I've known Colin for a number of years, and very often he posts pictures in the summer of camping with his cat. What's your cat's name?
We have Mario is the original camping cat, who's not with us anymore, but he had quite the life, glamping around the country. So his younger nephew, we'll call him Whisk. Has been with us for a few years now, and he's taken quite a liking to it, and has at this point camped all the way to Alberta and back.
Cool. So we talked a little bit about digital sovereignty, and that's a cornerstone of North Social. Like, all your data is not stored on servers around the world. It's stored on servers within Canada. Can we talk a little bit about why that is an important feature?
Yeah, so your data, first of all, on North Social, you own it. And that's not necessarily true, or typically it's not true on other platforms.
It's definitely. They tell you right away. They own all your imagery.
Yes. So on North Social, you own your data. So if you want to decide where your data should live, and you understand that there's legal implications to protecting and owning your data, those implications and those legal laws only apply in Canada. You as a Canadian citizen don't have many or any rights in the USA to your data that's in the USA. And more so, obviously, the government of any country, they have sovereign access, and their laws allow them to do investigative work, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, against the data that's in their country. So, of course, we're part of, Canada's part of the Five Eyes, right? There's geopolitical considerations here as well. And it would be naive to think that there isn't, in a legal situation where there's lives at stake and those sorts of things, that if the USA made a request to the Canadian government, that stuff like that may or may not happen. That's not our purview. But what we can tell you is that when your data is in Canada, at least you know that it's in the same country that you are under, so that the laws that apply to you also apply to your data. So that's really the underlying premise. But I'd say that it's not just about where the data lives, it's also about how it gets transmitted. So our public posts and our public data make use of global infrastructure because it's public anyways. And that brings down the costs, which is important for something of this scale. But your private data actually gets served directly from our servers without that type of global infrastructure. So your phone, it literally connects directly to our servers in Canada, and it's as far as the internet goes, it's as direct as can be.
That's cool. Legacy platforms maximize engagement by constantly, understanding as much as they can about the profile they've created on you and algorithmically influencing what you get in your feed. Sometimes it's stuff that pisses you off. Sometimes it's stuff that, like a cat, because you watch some cats. But you don't really do that on North Social, right?
Correct, not at all. And the reason for that is we wanted to have a different business model. If you think about Meta and other social media companies, TikTok, et cetera, the only way they can sell you stuff for the most part is those display ads. And those ads only make money when the people paying for the ads get results from them. And they're only effective if they know you better than you know you. And that's something that we're not comfortable with. So it's something we don't particularly, as a community, enjoy experiencing ourselves. And we're pretty sure a lot of other users feel the same way. So we made the decision that instead of us using the know everything about you model, we're going to take the approach of you tell us what you're looking for. So this isn't a new idea. Google has been doing it from the beginning. When you search on Google, you tell them that you're looking for a new truck, and they're going to show you an ad for a new truck. So that's the approach we take on North Social. So you tell us what you're looking for. We think this is very beneficial, not just from the user perspective, because we have no display ads then in your main content. The only ads you'll ever see in North Social is when you search for something and you've told us what you're looking for. But it's also beneficial from the advertisers as well, because they're not then spending money to get a whole bunch of eyeballs, 99.99% of them, which are not even applicable. They're going to be paying to put their ad in front of people who actually are searching for that topic. So you end up with much more intent, which means that the value of those ads, in our opinion, will be a lot higher.
The value of that click is
exactly. Yeah.
much more in line with what people actually are looking for. Yeah. What about content creators themselves? I notice there's a YouTuber on the platform by the name of Todd Maffin. He has 250,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he's on North Social. How does a content creator benefit from this platform?
Well, it's yet another audience, but we do appreciate that the number of audiences content creators such as Todd would have at this point is a list so long of all of the different places that you have to publish to, right? So we need to make sure that there's a reason that they will publish to North Social. Again, thinking about our business model, we felt that it's really important that we're actually going to share our revenue with the content creators. So 30% of North Social's future revenue ongoing basis from all of the ads is going to actually go to the people who are creating the content and I would say the engagement on the platform. And it's not just content creators, because there's another group of people that do a lot of work and don't necessarily see much return from it. And that's the people who manage all of those different groups on different social networks. Those administrators put in just countless hours on even a daily basis. So we want to make sure that they're in this sort of revenue sharing as well. So we're talking about 30% of our top line revenue, not profit, but revenue, actually going back into these communities to help sustain them and reward the people. Some people may be able to make a living off that in the future. We don't know, but we know that there's something there. And we also know that there's people who may say, hey, that's cute, but you can keep my 10 cents that I would have gotten for managing my little group. So we'll have a way for people to be able to pool those donations, those dollars together to donate to charities that they would like to support as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very different way than the other platforms, right? So what kinds of content can people post to North Social?
Yeah. So for today, it is it's pictures, of course, is what you're on, as well as links out to other stories or just posting stories and stuff in the site. Video is on its way. That's going to be a midterm thing. So groups in the app are our current focus here, like this week and next. But after that, video is coming up next. Video will likely be public first only, because we are able to make use of that global infrastructure to bring the cost down. And then privates after will be sometime after that. But on the video feeds, it is going to be it is going to be sort of bring your video with you. The editing features and stuff you might get in some of the other platforms won't be there on day zero, of course, as we start out, but will improve over time. But I will say that you really want to think about why would somebody follow you? And we've got some interesting mechanics in the system for that. When you're a business or an organization in North Social and you check that box, people can connect with you, which is our two-way connection like a friend on Facebook. And that organization, when they post privately, it'll show up in their connections private feed. So you can share insider information as an organization of, hey, connect with us on North Social and you're going to be the first to know about our sales and our deals, right? But an important thing is, as a business, they're not able to see your private posts the way that your personal connections can. So that gives you kind of the ability to have that insider information as a business and know that you're not having to have an awkward connection with a whole bunch of people who really don't want to share their vacation photos with you.
So looking ahead, I know the app is minutes away from being available. In a year from now, how do you see the growth prospects for the platform?
Our goal in that year is to hit 1 million users. So there is basically in Canada, you've got about 20 million social media users, right? So that is not a large number of them, but the business is very sustainable well before that point. So as we think about these sorts of things, we're doing this with a very long-term goal. We reacted, admittedly, early on to the current geopolitical situation, but we see that as the seed and the catalyst for this. This is something we've always needed. It's just that Canadians weren't necessarily ready to actually take action on it. So now that we've got that momentum and we look to the long term, we believe there's a lot of good we can do. The way we've designed the business and the business model, we believe is going to bring a lot of value to a lot of people. And we believe that value will speak for itself and grow the platform quite organically.
So when we're looking on the App Store or on Google Play Store, I've been searching over and over leading up to today, northsocial.ca. Is that the correct search parameter to use?
Absolutely.
So the app will be called northsocial.ca?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Colin, I mean, I get to this point in these interviews with people for featured creatives, and I always ask people, how would you like people to get in touch with you?
The most likely way to get in touch with us is to sign up for northsocial.ca and tell your friends and your family to join so that when you post something privately, they can actually see it. But honestly, connect with us there and reach out. But I want to say, like, we are absolutely looking for people who want to be leaders of groups. We're looking for people who want to be content creators. And it's really key that in the early days, you have an opportunity in any new network to establish yourself early and have that audience. So our challenge to you is, what kind of an audience do you want to bring that is able to help grow this platform, which in turn is going to grow that revenue share pool that we intend to share back with you.
That's very cool. Colin, I want to thank you for being part of Creative Third Thursdays and being our featured creative today, and wish you all kinds of success with North Social. Colin Schmidt, everybody. Just a quick note, the Chilliwack Student Film Festival is happening tomorrow, February 22nd at J.W. Graham Secondary. There's films from film students all around Chilliwack. You might want to check that out this week. Next Creative Third Thursdays is a Creative Third Thursdays is a Chilliwack Creative Commission event. Don't miss our Pecha Kucha featured videos that are on YouTube as well. And for more about us, look for Creative Commission at businessinchilliwack.com. Check out previous episodes on our YouTube channel. There's the search parameters for you right there on the screen. Very easy to see. Creative Third Thursdays Chilliwack. Like, subscribe to the playlist. I'm Geoff Edwards. Big thanks to the studio audience. Big thanks to Studio C. I'm thirsty. Thanks for coming, everybody. There's more beer in the kitchen. Cheers.